I'm Elon, a guy who spent his life chasing the impossible, building rockets to Mars, rewiring the world's energy, and asking why things can't be better, bigger, bolder. I don't have all the answers, but I've learned a thing or two about what it takes to move the needle, to change the trajectory of your life and the lives around you. Today, I'm here to talk about something just as ambitious as colonizing a planet: how to attract the ideal man, not just any man, but the one who matches your fire, your vision, your drive. This isn't about games or tricks. It's about becoming a force of nature, a woman so unapologetically herself that the right man can't help but be drawn into her orbit. I'm going to share 6 secrets that aren't just about dating, they're about building a life so powerful, so magnetic, that the ideal man becomes a natural part of your journey. Let's dive into the first secret, and trust me, it's a game changer. What if I told you that the single most powerful thing you can do to attract the ideal man is to stop needing him? That's right. Stop needing him to complete you, to validate you, to fill some void you've been told exists. You are not a half finished puzzle waiting for a missing piece. You are a goddamn starship, fully engineered, ready to launch into the cosmos. The ideal man isn't looking for someone who's clinging to him like a life raft. He's looking for a woman who's already soaring, who's got her own mission, her own trajectory. This first secret, the power of independence, is about building a life so full of purpose, so packed with meaning, that you don't just attract a man, you pull him into your gravitational field. This isn't about playing hard to get, it's about being so consumed by your own goals, your own drive, that you become a force that reshapes the space around you. Think about it. When I started SpaceX, I wasn't begging for investors to believe in me. I was obsessed with getting to Mars, with making humanity multiplanetary. That obsession, that clarity of purpose, pulled people and engineers, dreamers, even skeptics. They didn't join because I needed them. They joined because I was already moving, already building something bigger than myself. The same principle applies to you. The ideal man, the one who's worth your time, who can match your intellect, your ambition, your spark. He's not looking for someone who's waiting around for him to show up. He's looking for a woman who's already in motion, who's got her own mission control, her own launch pad. When you live like that, you create a kind of energy that's impossible to ignore. It's not about being unavailable for the sake of it. It's about being so invested in your own journey that your time, your attention, your presence becomes a rare and valuable commodity. Let's get real for a second. How many times have you rearranged your life for a guy, dropped your plans, shifted your priorities, maybe even dimmed your own light just to fit into his world? I'm not judging. I've made my share of mistakes, chasing things that didn't align with my bigger picture. But here's the truth. Every time you bend your life to fit someone else's, you're telling the universe you're not enough on your own. And that's a lie. You are enough. You're more than enough. You're a system of one, a self-sustaining powerhouse with dreams that could light up a city. The ideal man doesn't want to be your entire world. He wants to be part of a world that's already alive with purpose. He wants to see you chasing something, a career, a passion, a cause that makes your eyes light up, that makes you wake up at 4 a.m. with ideas you can't wait to scribble down. So, how do you harness this power of independence? First, you've got to define your mission. What's your Mars? What's the thing that gets you out of bed, that keeps you up at night, that makes you feel like you're contributing to something bigger than yourself? Maybe it's building a company, creating art, solving a problem that's been bugging you for years. It doesn't have to be world changing, though. Hell, why not aim for that? But it has to be yours. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with science fiction, with the idea of humans exploring the stars. That wasn't just a hobby, it was a fire that shaped everything I did. It led me to code, to build, to take risks that most people thought were insane. Your mission is your fuel. It's what makes you move with purpose, and that purpose is what makes you magnetic. Once you've got that mission, protect it like it's the oxygen in your spaceship. Don't let anyone, not a guy, not your friends, not even your own doubts derail you. This means setting boundaries around your time. If you're working on something big, don't drop everything the second a guy texts you. Let him wait. Not because you're playing games, but because you're busy building something extraordinary. When I was grinding through the early days of Tesla, I didn't have time to answer every call, every email. I was focused on keeping the company alive, on pushing electric cars from a niche idea to a global reality. That focus didn't make me less appealing, it made me more. People respect someone who knows what they're about, who's got a direction and isn't afraid to prioritize it. Here's a practical step: audit your time. Look at the last week of your life. How many hours did you spend on things that light you up, that move you closer to your goals? How many did you spend scrolling, waiting, or adjusting your schedule for someone else? If the balance is off, fix it. ruthlessly. Cut out the noise. Say no to things that don't align with your mission. If a guy asks you out and it conflicts with your work, your workout, your time to think, tell him you're busy, not with apologies, not with a long explanation about how you're so sorry, but maybe next week, just say, I'm tied up, let's try another time. That's it. That clarity, that confidence, it's like a signal flare. It says, my life has value, my time has weight, and if you want to be part of it, you've got to step up. Now, let's talk about the fear that creeps in, because I know it's there. The voice that says, if I'm too focused on myself, won't he lose interest? Won't he think I'm cold, distant, unapproachable? I get it. Your independence is your launchpad, the foundation that makes you a force of nature. But independence alone isn't enough. It's just the first stage of the rocket. Now we move to the second secret, the one that takes your presence from powerful to undeniable. Respecting yourself is the language of confidence. This isn't about shouting your worth from the rooftops or demanding attention. It's about setting a standard for how you're treated, about speaking a silent code that says, I know who I am and I won't settle for less. The ideal man, the one who's worth your time, who can match your ambition and your heart, he's drawn to a woman who carries herself like she's already won, not because she's arrogant, but because she's clear about her value. This is about boundaries, about drawing lines in the sand and standing by them, no apologies, no hesitation. It's the kind of confidence that doesn't need validation, the kind that makes a man sit up and think, this is someone I need to earn. Let's break this down. Respecting yourself starts with one simple, non negotiable rule: you don't tolerate disrespect, not from a guy, not from anyone. This isn't about being petty or picking fights over every little thing. It's about recognizing those moments, big or small, when someone crosses the line. Maybe it's a guy who makes a snarky comment about your work, your dreams, or the way you carry yourself. Maybe it's a subtle jab disguised as a joke that leaves you feeling just a little smaller. Most women let these moments slide. They tell themselves, it's not worth the drama, or he didn't mean it. But here's the truth: every time you let disrespect pass, you're sending a signal not just to him, but to yourself that your worth is negotiable. And it's not. When I was building SpaceX, there were plenty of people who laughed, who called my ideas crazy, who dismissed the whole thing as a pipe dream. I didn't argue with them. I didn't explain myself. I just kept building. But I made damn sure they knew I wasn't going to let their doubts slow me down. You need to do the same. Here's how it works in practice. Imagine you're out with a guy and he makes a comment that stings. Maybe he brushes off something you're passionate about, like your startup idea or your love for painting. Most women would swallow the hurt, smile, and move on. Don't. Look him in the eye, keep your voice calm but firm, and say something like, I don't appreciate that. Let's talk about something else. That's it. No lecture, no meltdown, just a clear line. You're not punishing him, you're showing him who you are. And here's the magic: the ideal man, the one who's worth your time, will respect that. He'll see your strength, your clarity, and he'll want to step up to meet it. The wrong guy, he'll squirm, deflect, or walk away. And that's a gift because it saves you time. You don't need to waste energy on someone who doesn't see your value. This isn't just about calling out bad behavior, it's about how you carry yourself every day. Confidence isn't loud, it's quiet, unshakable. It's in the way you say no without guilt. Picture this: a guy asks you to drop everything and meet him last minute, but you've got a project deadline or a workout you're committed to. Instead of bending over backward to make it work, you say, I'm booked tonight, but I'm free tomorrow. No apologies, no long-winded excuses about how busy you are, just the truth delivered with certainty. When I was grinding through the early days of Tesla, I didn't have time to cater to everyone's whims. I had to say no a lot, not because I wanted to be difficult, but because I was focused on something bigger. That focus, that ability to stand by my priorities, didn't push people away, it pulled the right ones closer. The same goes for you. When you say no with confidence, you're not just protecting your time, you're signaling that your life has weight, that you're a woman who knows her worth. Now, let's talk about the deeper layer of this secret. Self-respect is a language you speak to yourself first. It's not just about how you respond to others. It's about how you treat yourself when no one's watching. Are you honoring your own goals, your own needs? Or are you constantly putting yourself last, sacrificing your dreams to keep others happy? I've seen this trap before, not just in relationships, but in business, in life. When I was younger, I used to overextend myself, trying to please everyone, thinking that's what made me valuable. It didn't, it just left me drained, spread too thin to make a real impact. The moment I started prioritizing my own vision, whether it was building PayPal or pushing for sustainable energy, I became more effective, more magnetic, you need to do the same. Ask yourself, are you living in a way that makes you proud of who you are? Are you showing up for yourself the way you'd show up for someone you love? Here's a practical move. Start setting small, deliberate boundaries in your daily life. If a guy texts you at 11 p.m. expecting you to drop everything and chat, don't put your phone down, go to bed, and respond when it suits you. If he pushes you to do something that doesn't feel right, maybe it's going to a party you're not into or rushing into something you're not ready for, say, that's not for me, period. No need to justify it with a novel-length explanation. When I decided to pour everything into Neuralink, I didn't spend hours explaining why to every skeptic. I just did it. Your choices don't need a defense, they need conviction. And that conviction, that quiet strength, is what makes a man stop and think, this woman is different. She's not chasing approval. She's building something real. There's a fear that comes with this, and I know it well. The fear that if you set boundaries, if you demand respect, you'll scare him off. Good. If a guy can't handle your standards, he's not the ideal man. He's just a passenger, not a co-pilot. The ideal man, the one who's going to stand by you, challenge you, grow with you. He's looking for a woman who knows her worth and isn't afraid to protect it. When I was working on the first Falcon 1 launches, we failed 3 times. Three. Each one was a gut punch. But I didn't lower my standards or beg for approval. I doubled down, fixed the problems, and kept going. That's what self-respect looks like. Knowing you're worth the effort, even when the world doubts you. And when you carry that energy into your relationships, you don't just attract the ideal man, you attract someone who sees you as an equal, a partner, a force. This secret isn't just about dating, it's about rewriting how you move through the world. When you respect yourself, you set a standard that ripples outward. You stop tolerating half-hearted effort, not just from men, but from friends, colleagues, even yourself. You start building a life where only the best people, opportunities, experiences get through the gate, and that's when the magic happens. The ideal man doesn't just show up, he's drawn to you because you're already shining, already moving with purpose. You're not waiting for him to light up your world, you're the one lighting up the galaxy, and he's lucky to get a front row seat. So take this to heart. Respecting yourself is the language of confidence, and it's a language you can't fake. It's in the way you hold your ground, the way you say no, the way you refuse to shrink. Start speaking it today. Set one boundary, no matter how small, and stick to it. Maybe it's telling a guy you're not available on a whim. Maybe it's calling out a comment that doesn't sit right. Whatever it is, do it with the certainty of someone who knows they're building something extraordinary. Because when you do, you're not just attracting the ideal man, you're becoming the ideal version of yourself. And that's the kind of power that changes everything. You're a starship, fueled by your own mission, radiating confidence through the boundaries you set with unapologetic self-respect. But there's another dimension to this journey, a layer that adds depth and pull to your presence. Mystery is cosmic energy. This third secret isn't about playing games or hiding who you are. It's about controlling the rhythm of how you reveal yourself, like a planet slowly unveiling its secrets to a curious explorer. The ideal man, the one who's worth your time, isn't drawn to a woman who lays out her entire story on the first date, like an open book with no pages left to turn. He's captivated by someone who leaves him wondering, who makes him lean in, who sparks his curiosity to discover more. This is about pacing, about intentionality, about creating a gravitational pull that keeps him orbiting closer, not because you're withholding, but because you're a universe unto yourself, and exploring you takes time. Let's paint a picture. Imagine you're on a date and the conversation is flowing. He's asking about your life, your dreams, your past. Most women, in an effort to connect, spill everything, every heartbreak, every triumph, every detail of their journey. They think transparency is intimacy. But here's the truth. Intimacy isn't built by unloading your entire hard drive in one night. It's built through layers, through moments that unfold over time. When I was starting X, I didn't walk into meetings and tell investors my entire life story, every failure, every doubt, every late night panic. I shared just enough. The vision, the why, the spark. The rest, they had to earn it, to stick around, to prove they were worth the deeper dive. That's what made the mission compelling. You need to do the same. Let him glimpse your light, but don't hand him the whole star chart on day one. Why does mystery matter? Because it's human nature to value what we have to work for. Think about it. When you solve a puzzle too quickly, it's forgettable. But when you're piecing it together bit by bit, each discovery feels like a victory. That's what you want to create in a relationship. The ideal man, the one who's got his own fire, his own mission, he's not looking for a finished story. He's looking for a woman who's complex, who's got depth, who makes him want to explore. When you share too much too soon, you rob him of that journey. You kill the curiosity, and curiosity is the fuel that keeps him coming back, not out of neediness, but out of genuine fascination. I've seen this in my own life. The people who stick around, the ones who become true partners, aren't the ones I overwhelmed with details up front. They're the ones who were intrigued, who wanted to dig deeper, because I gave them just enough to spark their imagination. So, how do you embody this cosmic energy? Start by mastering the art of selective sharing. On a date, don't feel pressured to answer every question like you're in a job interview. If he asks about your past, give him a piece, something true, something meaningful, but not the whole saga. Maybe you say, I've had some wild adventures building my career, but the best stories are the ones I'm still writing. Smile, pivot, ask him something back. Let him feel like there's more to uncover. This isn't about being evasive, it's about being deliberate. When I was pitching Tesla to early investors, I didn't bore them with every technical detail of battery chemistry. I gave them the vision electric cars that could outrun gas guzzlers and let their questions pull the rest out of me. That's how you create pull. You offer a spark, then let them chase the flame. This goes beyond conversations, it's about how you live. Mystery isn't just what you say, it's what you do. Don't broadcast every moment of your life on social media, laying out your every thought, every meal, every mood. I'm not saying ditch Instagram, but think about it. When everything about you is public, what's left for someone to discover? I've always kept parts of my work private, not out of secrecy, but because some things are sacred. The early designs for Starship, the late night breakthroughs at Neuralink, those weren't for the world to see until they were ready. Your life should have that same sanctity. Keep some dreams, some goals, some pieces of yourself just for you, or for the person who earns their way into your orbit. That's what makes you magnetic. The sense that there's more to you, layers that take time to peel back. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the fear of being too mysterious. I know the thought, won't he think I'm cold, distant, uninterested? Here's the reality, the right man won't. The ideal man, the one who's got his own drive, his own purpose, will see your mystery as a challenge worth taking. He'll respect that you're not an open book, that you're a woman with depth, with a story that unfolds slowly. The wrong guy? He'll get frustrated, push for more, or walk away. And that's okay. You're not here to please everyone. You're here to attract the one who's willing to explore the universe that is you. When I was working on the first Hyperloop concepts, plenty of people thought I was nuts, too opaque, not giving them enough to get it. But the ones who stuck around, the engineers, the dreamers, they saw the vision and wanted in. That's what you want. A man who sees your spark and wants to explore the galaxy behind it. Here's a practical step to start building this mystery. Next time you're in a conversation with a guy, practice the 70/30ths rule. Share 70% of the story, hold back 30%. If you're talking about your passion, say your love for designing apps or hiking the Rockies, give him the highlight reel, not the director's cut. Maybe you say, I spent last summer hiking 50 miles through the mountains. It was brutal but exhilarating. Let him ask what made it brutal, what kept you going. Don't volunteer the whole tale unless he earns it. And when he does ask, turn it back on him. What's the toughest challenge you've tackled lately? This does two things. It keeps him curious, and it shows you're interested in his world too. It's a dance, not a monologue. I've learned this in my own work, whether it's negotiating with suppliers or pitching to NASA. You don't win by overwhelming people with data. You win by giving them just enough to make them hungry for more. This secret also applies to how you carry yourself outside of dating. Cultivate a life that has private corners, moments that are just yours. Maybe it's a journal where you write your wildest ideas, a project you're tinkering with that no one knows about yet, or a quiet ritual like stargazing on a clear night that grounds you. These things aren't just for you, they're a signal to the world that you're more than what's visible. When I was a kid, I'd spend hours reading sci fi, imagining worlds no one else could see. Those moments weren't for show, they shaped who I am. Your private moments do the same. They give you depth, and that depth is what makes a man think, there's something about her I need to know. Mystery isn't about being someone you're not, it's about owning the fact that you're a universe complex, vast, worth exploring. The ideal man doesn't want a script handed to him. He wants a journey. He wants to discover you, to feel like every layer he uncovers is a privilege. So don't give it all away. Hold back just enough to keep him wondering, to keep him chasing, not out of desperation, but out of awe. Because when you embody this cosmic energy, you're not just attracting the ideal man, you're showing him that being with you is like stepping into a new galaxy, one he'll never want to leave. Your independence is your rocket fuel, Your self-respect is the steel frame of your mission, and your mystery is the cosmic pull that keeps him orbiting closer. But now we're diving into the fourth secret, the one that separates the women who merely attract attention from those who command it, keeping your emotional center in the storm. The ideal man, the one who's not just a fling but a true partner, someone with depth and drive, doesn't just want a woman who's confident or enigmatic. He wants someone who can stand firm when life throws curveballs, who doesn't crumble under pressure or get swept away by chaos. This isn't about being cold or emotionless. It's about being the calm at the center of the galaxy, the kind of woman who can face a challenge, a test, or even a playful jab without losing her footing. That kind of strength is magnetic, and it's what makes a man not just notice you, but trust you, lean into you, and want to build something real with you. Picture this: you're on a date, or maybe you're a few weeks into seeing someone. He tosses out a playful tease. Maybe he pokes fun at your obsession with coding late into the night, or your habit of overanalyzing every sci-fi movie. It's light, it's meant to be fun, but there's a little edge to it, a test to see how you'll react. Most women might laugh it off nervously, or worse, get defensive, trying to explain themselves or snap back. But that's where you lose ground. The ideal man isn't looking for someone who's easily rattled, who jumps to justify herself or shuts down under pressure. He's looking for a woman who can take that moment, hold it, and respond with the kind of calm that says, I see you, I'm not phased, and I'm still here. That's power. That's the kind of presence that makes him think this woman can handle anything. Let me tell you something from my own world. When we were launching the first Falcon 1 rockets, the stakes were insane. Failure wasn't just a setback, it was existential. Three launches, three crashes. The world was watching, the critics were circling, and the pressure was crushing. But I couldn't afford to lose my cool. I had to stay focused, analyze the data, and keep moving forward. That ability to stay centered, to not let the noise or the setbacks shake me, wasn't just about saving SpaceX. It was about proving to myself and everyone else that I could handle the storm. You need to bring that same energy to your relationships. Life, like rocket launches, is unpredictable. The ideal man wants a partner who can stand with him in the chaos, not add to it. When you show him you can stay grounded, you're not just attractive, you're indispensable. So, how do you cultivate this emotional center? It starts with recognizing that tests, whether they're intentional or not, are part of the game. A guy might push your buttons to see what you're made of. Maybe he challenges your opinion on something you care about, or he throws out a sarcastic remark to gauge your reaction. This isn't about being mean, it's about instinct. Deep down, he's asking, can she handle me? Can she handle life's ups and downs? Your job isn't to pass his test, it's to rewrite it. Next time you feel that spark of tension, pause, breathe. Don't rush to respond. Let the moment sit for a beat, then answer with a smirk or a calm deflection. Say he teases, you're always working on that project, don't you ever take a break? Instead of getting flustered or explaining your hustle, try, I rest when the mission's done. What keeps you up at night? That kind of response doesn't just shut down the test, it flips the script, putting the focus back on him while showing you're unshakable. This isn't just about handling a guy's teasing, it's about how you navigate any emotional turbulence. Maybe you're stressed about a work deadline, or you're dealing with a family issue that's got you on edge. The temptation is to vent, to let it all spill out, to lean on someone else to fix how you feel. Don't. The ideal man isn't looking for someone who unloads every emotion the second it hits. He's drawn to a woman who can feel deeply but stay steady, who can process her emotions without letting them take the wheel. I've had moments where everything felt like it was falling apart, Tesla on the brink, SpaceX bleeding cash, but I learned to step back, breathe, and focus on the next step. Not because I'm some robot, but because I know that staying centered is how you solve problems, not create them. You need to do the same. When you're upset, take a moment. Journal it, walk it off, talk it through with a friend if you need to, but when you're with him, show up as the woman who's got her ship under control. Here's a practical move. Practice micro moments of calm. Next time you feel triggered, whether it's a guy's comment, a stressful day, or even just a bad mood, give yourself 10 seconds. Count them in your head, breathe deeply, and let the initial wave of emotion pass. Then respond not from that raw, reactive place, but from your core, your center. I do this all the time. When I'm in a high stakes meeting and someone throws a curveball question, I don't blurt out the first thing that comes to mind. I pause, think, and answer from a place of clarity. That pause is power. It's the difference between reacting and leading. In a relationship, that pause shows a man you're not just along for the ride, you're steering your own course. Now, let's talk about the fear that comes with this. because I know it's there the worry that if you stay too calm, too centered, you'll seem distant or unfeeling. That's nonsense. The ideal man doesn't want a robot. He wants a partner who's human but grounded, who can feel the storm but not get lost in it. When you show that kind of strength, you're not pushing him away, you're pulling him in. He starts to see you as someone he can rely on, someone who can stand shoulder to shoulder with him when life gets messy. I've seen this in my own life. The people who've stayed with me through the crazy, through the late nights, the impossible deadlines, the near disasters, aren't the ones who needed me to be perfect. They're the ones who saw me stay steady, who knew I could handle the pressure and still keep moving forward. That's what you want to embody. A woman who's not just surviving the storm, but navigating it with purpose. This secret isn't just about attracting a man, it's about becoming a woman who thrives in any environment. When you can stay centered, you're not just ready for a relationship, you're ready for life. You're the kind of person who can take a hit and keep going, who can face uncertainty and still chart the course ahead. That's the kind of energy that makes the ideal man stop and think, this is someone I want by my side. Because when you keep your emotional center, you're not just attracting him, you're showing him you're a force, a partner, a woman who can handle the universe's chaos and still shine. So practice that pause, hold that calm, and let your strength speak for itself. The right man will see it, and he'll know he's found something rare. You've built a life that's a rocket in flight, fueled by independence, armored with self-respect, radiating the cosmic pull of mystery, and anchored by an unshakable emotional center. Now we're at the fifth secret, the one that elevates you from a force to a phenomenon. Become the fire that leads the way. This isn't about chasing a man or molding yourself to fit his world. It's about being a woman so consumed by her own purpose, so driven by a vision bigger than herself, that the ideal man, the one with his own fire, his own ambition, can't help but be drawn to your light. This is about living with such intensity, such clarity, that you become the kind of woman who doesn't just attract a partner, but inspires him to rise, to build, to reach for the stars alongside you. The ideal man doesn't want to be your entire universe. He wants to join a universe that's already burning bright, one that's moving toward something extraordinary. Let's get to the core of this. Purpose is the engine of a life well lived. It's the reason you get up in the morning, the thing that keeps you pushing through setbacks, doubts, and failures. For me, it's always been about making humanity's future bigger, whether that's colonizing Mars, rewiring how we power the planet, or connecting our minds to machines. That kind of purpose isn't just a job or a hobby, it's a fire that shapes everything I do. It's what keeps me going when the odds are stacked against me, when the world says it's impossible. You need that same fire, that same relentless drive towards something that matters to you. Maybe it's building a business, creating art that moves people, or tackling a problem that's been gnawing at you for years. Whatever it is, it has to be yours, something that lights you up from the inside. Because when you live with that kind of purpose, you don't just attract the ideal man, you become the kind of woman he can't imagine his life without. Why does this matter? Because the ideal man, the one who's worth your time, who can match your intellect and ambition, isn't looking for someone who's just along for the ride. He's looking for a woman who's got her own trajectory, who's building something meaningful with or without him. I've seen this in my own life. The people who've joined me on the wildest journeys, whether it's launching rockets or digging tunnels, aren't the ones who needed me to give them a purpose. They're the ones who had their own, who saw my mission and said, hell yeah, I want in. That's what the ideal man wants from you. He doesn't want to be your reason for existing. He wants to be your co-conspirator, your partner in crime, someone who's inspired by your drive and wants to amplify it. When you're living for something bigger, you create a kind of gravity that pulls the right people into your orbit. So, how do you become this fire? It starts with clarity. You've got to know what you're building, what you're fighting for. Ask yourself, what's the one thing you'd work on even if no one else believed in it? What's the dream that keeps you up at night, the idea that makes your heart race? For me, it was always space. When I was a kid, I'd lie awake imagining humans on other planets, wondering why we weren't already there. That wasn't just a fantasy, it became my mission. Your mission might be different. Maybe it's teaching kids in underserved communities, designing sustainable tech, or writing stories that change how people see the world. Whatever it is, name it, write it down, make it real. Because once you've got that clarity, it's like flipping a switch. Everything you do starts to align with that purpose. And that alignment is what makes you unstoppable. Once you've got your mission, protect it like it's the most precious resource you have. This means saying no to anything that pulls you off course. If a guy wants you to ditch your goals to fit into his life, whether it's skipping a work deadline to hang out or toning down your ambition to make him feel secure, don't do it. I learned this the hard way. Early on, I tried to juggle too many things, to be everything to everyone. It didn't work. The moment I started saying no to distractions, meetings that didn't matter, projects that weren't aligned, I freed up space to focus on what did. You need to do the same. If a guy asks you to compromise your vision, to put your dreams on hold, he's not the ideal man. The right one will see your fire and want to throw fuel on it, not douse it. Here's a practical step. Map out your mission. Grab a notebook or open a blank doc and write down your big goal, the thing you want to achieve in the next year, 5 years, 10 years. Break it into steps. If you want to start a company, what's the first product? If you want to be an artist, what's the first piece you're going to create? Then every week, check in with yourself. Are you moving toward that goal? Are you spending your time on things that matter? If you're dating someone, ask, does this guy support my mission or is he pulling me away from it? When I was building Tesla, I didn't have time for people who didn't get the vision. I needed partners, collaborators who saw the bigger picture. The ideal man is the same. He'll see your purpose and want to be part of it, not a roadblock. Now, let's talk about the fear, because I know it's there, the worry that if you're too focused on your own path, you'll seem selfish, unapproachable, or like you don't have room for a relationship. That's a trap. The ideal man doesn't want a woman who's waiting around for him to give her purpose. He wants someone who's already moving, already creating, already burning bright. When I started SpaceX, people told me I was crazy, that I was too obsessed, too single-minded. But that obsession is what got us to orbit. Your focus, your drive isn't a turnoff, it's a beacon. The right man will see it and think, this is someone I can build with, someone who's going somewhere, and he'll want to join you, not hold you back. This secret isn't just about attracting a man, it's about becoming a woman who lives with intention, who doesn't wait for permission or validation to chase her dreams. When you're that woman, you don't just draw the ideal man into your orbit, you inspire him to be better, to push harder, to reach for his own stars. You become a catalyst, not just for a relationship, but for a life that's bigger, bolder, more extraordinary. So find your fire, name it, protect it, and let it burn. Because when you do, you're not just attracting the ideal man, you're lighting up the universe, and he's lucky to be along for the ride.